And we'll keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries. 100 Bermuda Triangle Mysteries looping softly, endlessly through the night. Tonight we'll drift through an abandoned ship drifting in perfect order, meals waiting, cabins undisturbed, lifeboats still tied down, yet every soul aboard gone without a sound. What really unfolded on the ghost-still deck of the Mary Celeste? And then this. We are entering white water. Nothing seems right. The final terrified broadcast from a Navy flight that dissolved into the sky, leaving not a single scrap of metal behind. Their voices echo, but the planes never returned. And now the mystery has shifted again. A fully autonomous, cutting-edge drone swarm, built to navigate anything, crossed into the triangle in 2025 and blinked out of existence. No malfunction, no signal, no trace. Has the Bermuda Triangle begun evolving with us? Let's plunge into the unknown. There's nothing you need to do now. Just let your body sink. Heavier, heavier. Feel the mattress holding you, every muscle softening, your heartbeat slowing. Thump, thump, matching the rhythm of space itself. Shoulders melting down, jaw releasing, each breath pulling you deeper, deeper, into the calm, the quiet, the dark. If this helps you rest, tap subscribe and hit like, so others can find this calm too. But only if your eyes are still open. Otherwise, just drift. Now, let's drift into Bermuda Triangle. The ocean doesn't keep calendars, but humans do, and so we mark the moment. March 2025, when something impossible happened again. A swarm of military-grade autonomous drones, equipped with satellite GPS, redundant navigation systems, AI decision-making that could compensate for any failure, entered the triangle on a routine surveillance mission. Thump, thump, your heartbeat steady, calm. They were tracking weather patterns, mapping ocean temperatures, communicating with 3 separate command centers, and then silence. Not mechanical failure, not weather interference, just absence, as if they'd crossed an invisible threshold and ceased to be. The last telemetry showed normal function, normal coordinates, and then nothing. Feel your body growing heavier, sinking deeper into the mattress, every cell relaxing, softening, melting down. This is the Bermuda Triangle, a patch of Atlantic Ocean, roughly triangular, stretching from Miami, Florida, to San Juan, Puerto Rico, to the island of Bermuda, and back, approximately 500,000 square miles of water, where the laws of probability seem to bend. The boundaries aren't official. No maritime charts mark its edges. It's a ghost drawn by storytellers, by sailors whispering in ports, by writers connecting disappearances like constellations, finding patterns in chaos. But the disappearances, those are real, documented, witnessed, and unexplained. Your breath is slowing now, deeper, fuller, each exhale releasing tension, releasing questions, releasing the need to understand, just floating, just drifting. Some call it the Devil's Triangle, a name that tastes like superstition, like old fears. Sailors have avoided these waters for centuries, not because of science, but because of stories, because of the friend who never returned, the ship that left port and became memory. Let your jaw release, your tongue resting soft in your mouth, temples smooth, forehead wide and calm. But let's drift back through time, back to October 1492. Christopher Columbus, crossing the Atlantic, his logbook open, his hand trembling as he writes. He saw something in these waters, something that made him question reality. His compass, the instrument that pointed him across the unknown ocean, suddenly spun wildly, pointing not to magnetic north, but dancing, erratic, impossible. He wrote about strange lights on the horizon, glowing balls of fire that rose from the ocean, hovered and vanished. His crew grew frightened, muttering about cursed waters, about sailing off the edge of the world. Columbus didn't publish all of his observations. Some entries he kept private, hidden. Perhaps he feared they'd sound like madness, or perhaps he feared they were true. Your shoulders melting down into the softness beneath you. Gravity pulling gently, pulling you towards sleep. The compass anomaly Columbus witnessed. It's real. The Bermuda Triangle is one of only 2 places on Earth where true north and magnetic north align, where compasses point to the actual North Pole instead of magnetic north. This should be simple, predictable, but the transition zone creates confusion. Pilots and sailors expecting declination, adjusting for magnetic variation, suddenly find their instruments behaving unexpectedly. A small error, compounded over hours of travel, can place a vessel hundreds of miles off course. Breathe in slowly. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Letting go. Fast forward now, drifting through time like smoke. December 1872, the Mary Celeste, a merchant brigantine, found drifting in the Atlantic, not far from the Azores. The vessel was seaworthy, fully provisioned, the cargo intact, personal belongings untouched, the captain's logbook ending abruptly, mid-sentence, as if he'd simply stood up and walked away, forever. The crew of 10, including the captain's wife and 2-year-old daughter, gone. The ship's single lifeboat was missing, but why would they abandon a perfectly functional vessel? The last log entry reported their position, routine, unremarkable. Then silence. Then absence. Theories bloomed like algae. Piracy, but nothing was stolen. Mutiny, but there were no signs of violence. A waterspout, a sudden storm, but the ship showed no damage. Some whispered about sea monsters, about portals opening beneath the waves, about the crew being taken, lifted, erased. Feel the weight of your eyelids. So heavy, so beautifully heavy. No need to open them. No need to resist. The Mary Celeste wasn't technically in the Bermuda Triangle, but the story attached itself to the legend, became part of the mythology. because it resonated with something deeper. This fear of vanishing, of crossing from existence into void, leaving only objects behind, evidence of life interrupted, your heartbeat, thump, thump, steady as a lighthouse beam, sweeping through darkness. March 1918, World War I, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy collier ship, 542 feet long, carrying 11,000 tons of manganese ore and 309 souls, departed from Barbados, bound for Baltimore. The weather was calm, the sea peaceful. The ship sent no distress signal, reported no problems. It simply dissolved into history. The largest loss of life in US naval history not involving combat, and no wreckage ever found. No oil slick, no debris, no bodies. The ocean swallowed the Cyclops whole. The Navy searched, sent aircraft, sent ships, combed thousands of square miles. Nothing, as if the Cyclops had been lifted from the water or had sunk so completely it merged with the sea floor. Let your thoughts drift away, like clouds, like ships disappearing over the horizon. You don't need to hold on to anything now. Theories multiplied, German U-boats, though none reported an attack and the wreckage would have surfaced. Structural failure, the ship breaking apart. But manganese ore doesn't explain such complete disappearance. Some whispered about the captain, about his erratic behavior, about mutiny. But again, no evidence, no wreckage, no answers. Two of the Cyclops' sister ships, the USS Proteus and USS Nereus, they vanished too in 1941, both in the Triangle, both without trace. 3 identical ships, 3 identical mysteries. The probability approaches impossible, yet it happened, documented, real. Your body is so heavy now, so perfectly still. Each muscle fiber releasing, releasing, releasing. Your breath is a tide, rolling in, rolling out, gentle, eternal. December 5th, 1945. The legend crystallizes, becomes permanent. Flight 19, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, US Navy, routine training mission, experienced pilots, clear weather, 14 men. The flight plan was simple. A triangular route out over the Atlantic, east, north, then southwest back to base. They'd flown it dozens of times, but something went wrong. The compasses failed. Not one, but multiple compasses on multiple aircraft, all simultaneously. The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, his voice crackling over the radio. Both my compasses are out. I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down. But they weren't over the Keys. They were somewhere else. Somewhere they couldn't identify. The ocean looked wrong, the islands looked wrong. Reality itself seemed displaced. Feel yourself drifting like Flight 19, unmoored from certainty, floating in the space between waking and sleeping. Other pilots heard the transmissions, heard the growing panic. We are entering white water. Nothing seems right. Then, we don't know which way is west. Everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Even the ocean doesn't look as it should. The radio communications grew fainter, fainter, until they dissolved into static. The planes never returned. A massive search operation launched, covering 250,000 square miles, hundreds of aircraft, dozens of ships. They found nothing. No wreckage, no oil, no life rafts, no bodies. As if Flight 19 had flown into another dimension and the door had closed behind them. Your eyelids are sealed, not with effort, but with the natural weight of approaching sleep. Thump, thump, your heart steady, calm, ancient. But the story deepens. A rescue plane, a PBM Mariner. It took off to search for Flight 19. 20 minutes later, that plane vanished too. 6 aircraft, 27 men, gone in one afternoon. The Mariner was known to leak fuel vapors. One spark could cause an explosion. The crew of the SS Gainesmill reported seeing an explosion in the sky, a brief fireball, but no wreckage was ever found. Not from the Mariner, not from Flight 19, nothing. Some nights are darker than others. Some nights the ocean keeps its secrets closer. Let your mind drift to the scattered islands. Puerto Rico to the south, its deep waters hiding the Puerto Rico Trench, the deepest point in the Atlantic, over 8,300 meters down. 5 miles of darkness, pressure that would crush steel like paper. Down there, who knows what rests on the bottom, what stories the sediment keeps. Bermuda to the north, pink sand beaches hiding coral reefs that have torn open hulls for centuries. The island gave its name to the triangle, but Bermudians themselves often dismiss the legend. They've sailed these waters for generations, fished, traveled, survived. To them, it's just ocean, and Florida, the western point, where the Gulf Stream begins its journey. That massive river of warm water flowing north at up to 5.5 miles per hour, strong enough to carry debris hundreds of miles from a disaster site, strong enough to hide evidence, to scatter wreckage across the Atlantic, to make searches futile. Feel the current pulling you deeper, deeper into rest, into darkness, into the soft void where sleep waits. The Gulf Stream explains so much. A plane crashes, a ship sinks, and within hours the debris field is scattered, carried north, diluted across thousands of square miles. Search and rescue teams looking in the wrong place, always arriving too late. The ocean is a magician, misdirecting attention, making evidence disappear. Your breathing is automatic now, your body breathing itself, no effort, no thought, just the gentle tide of air, in, out, in, out. January 1948, the Star Tiger, a British airliner, flying from the Azores to Bermuda, 31 people aboard. The pilot radioed his position, reported excellent visibility, smooth flight, expected arrival on time, then nothing. The plane never arrived, never sent a distress call, was never seen again. The search found nothing. Breathe out, let go of questions, of the need to know. 1 year later, January 1949, the Star Ariel, sister aircraft to the Star Tiger, same route, Bermuda to Jamaica. The pilot radioed, "On course, weather excellent, expecting to arrive on schedule." Those were the last words. 20 people vanished. No distress, no wreckage, no explanation. Two identical aircraft, same airline, same region, same inexplicable disappearance. The odds are astronomical, yet it happened. The investigation found no evidence of mechanical failure, no evidence of weather, no evidence of pilot error. The final report used the word baffling. Official documents, government investigations, reduced to that single word, baffling. Your body is liquid now, pouring into the mattress, melting through it, becoming one with the darkness beneath. February 1963, the SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a tanker carrying molten sulphur, left Texas, bound for Virginia. Routine voyage, experienced crew. The ship had passed inspection, though some noted concerns about the hull, about cracks, about the dangers of carrying sulphur heated to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. The ship radioed its position, routine, normal, then silence. Days passed. The Coast Guard searched, found scattered debris, life jackets, pieces of the ship, but no survivors, no bodies, no answers. The wreckage pattern suggested sudden catastrophic failure, but what kind? Explosion, structural collapse, the sulphur burning through the hull, or something else, something that struck without warning, pulled the ship down in minutes, leaving only fragments floating on the surface, whispers of a disaster. Let yourself sink, sink like the Sulphur Queen, down, down, where pressure silences all questions, where darkness is complete, where sleep is inevitable. The ocean here is deep, not as deep as the Puerto Rico Trench, but deep enough. The bottom is scarred with canyons, trenches, underwater mountains. The topography creates unpredictable currents, sudden upwellings, areas where different water masses collide, where warm meets cold. Strange things happen, and beneath the sediment, something stranger still. Methane hydrates, frozen methane trapped in ice, buried under centuries of sediment, stable in the cold and pressure of the deep ocean, but unstable if disturbed, if released. Methane gas bubbles up, billions of bubbles, reducing the density of the water. A ship floating on water, suddenly floating on foam, on aerated water with no buoyancy. The vessel drops, plunges straight down. No time for distress calls, no time for lifeboats. It sinks like a stone, and the bubbles continue rising, carrying debris down with the suction, pulling wreckage into the deep, leaving nothing on the surface. Your thoughts are bubbles now, rising, popping, disappearing, leaving only stillness. Scientists have found methane craters on the ocean floor off Norway, huge indentations where gas erupted, where ships could have vanished in seconds. The Bermuda Triangle sits atop similar geology, similar deposits. Could this explain the sudden disappearances, the complete lack of wreckage? It's one theory, drifting among many, none proven, none disproven. Breathe in slowly and out even slower. Your heartbeat, thump, thump, quieter now, softer, fading into the background. But methane doesn't explain the aircraft, the planes that vanished from the sky. Methane doesn't interfere with compasses, doesn't create electronic fog, doesn't make pilots lose all sense of direction. So we drift to other theories, to magnetic anomalies. The Earth's magnetic field isn't uniform, it fluctuates, creates zones of interference. The triangle sits in one of these zones, where magnetic variation can change quickly, where compass readings become unreliable. For centuries, sailors used magnetic compasses, adjusted for local variation, trusted the needle to point home. But in the triangle, the needle lies, or rather, it tells a different truth, one that pilots and navigators don't expect. A small error becomes large. A heading off by 5 degrees, maintained for hours, places the aircraft far from its intended path, out of fuel, out of options, forced to ditch in the ocean, and the ocean leaves no witnesses. Let your jaw hang loose, your tongue heavy, your face a soft mask of peace. Weather in the triangle changes faster than anywhere else in the Atlantic. Clear skies becoming violent storms in minutes. The region lies in Hurricane Alley. From June through November, massive storms churn through, carrying winds over 150 miles per hour, waves over 50 feet high, capable of breaking ships apart, pulling aircraft from the sky. Waterspouts, tornadoes over water, form suddenly, rise hundreds of feet, spinning columns of wind and spray. A ship caught in a waterspout, lifted, twisted, torn apart, scattered across miles of ocean. Rogue waves, single waves towering over 100 feet, appearing from calm seas, striking without warning. Ships that encountered rogue waves described them as walls of water, mountains rising from flat ocean. They appear, strike, and vanish, leaving broken vessels sinking, or sometimes leaving no vessel at all, swallowed whole. Your body is water, fluid, formless, spreading across the bed, no boundaries, no edges, just presence, just being. The statistics tell a story too. Insurance companies, Lloyd's of London, they track ship losses worldwide. They find no elevated risk in the Bermuda Triangle, no higher percentage of disappearances than any other heavily travelled maritime region. The North Atlantic, the Mediterranean, the South China Sea, they all claim vessels regularly, predictably. The US Coast Guard states officially, the triangle is no more dangerous than any other part of the ocean. The disappearances can be explained by natural phenomena, by human error, by statistical clustering, by confirmation bias. But numbers feel cold, distant. They don't account for the stories, for the witnesses who saw ships vanish, for the pilots who reported impossible phenomena, for the families waiting at ports, watching the horizon, seeing nothing return. Feel the weight of history, all those souls, all those mysteries, pressing down softly, gently, like a blanket, pulling you towards sleep. The Carroll A. Deering, 1921, a 5-masted schooner found run aground off North Carolina, sails set, food cooking on the stove. The captain's personal belongings untouched, but the entire crew gone. The lifeboats were missing, but why abandon a ship so close to shore? Why leave everything behind? Pirates, some suggested, though nothing was stolen. Mutiny, though there was no evidence of struggle. A larger mystery at play, something that made men flee a stable ship, choosing uncertain death in small boats over what? What did they see? What did they know? The crew was never found. No bodies washed ashore. No lifeboats recovered. They joined the long list of vanished sailors, names in logbooks, photographs in maritime museums, ghosts of the Triangle. Your thoughts are drifting apart now, like lifeboats separating in fog, each one carrying a piece of consciousness away, away, away into the dark. The Ellen Austin, 1881, encountered an abandoned schooner drifting in the Triangle. The crew boarded, found the ship intact, seaworthy, fully provisioned, but empty. Not a soul aboard. The captain of the Ellen Austin assigned a prize crew to sail the derelict ship to port. The two vessels travelled together until fog rolled in, thick, impenetrable. When the fog lifted, the abandoned schooner was gone again. The Ellen Austin searched, found the vessel days later, and discovered the prize crew had vanished too. The ship was empty once more, as if it was cursed, as if it existed to make people disappear. Some versions of the story claim they sent another crew, and those men vanished as well. But the truth is murky, distorted by time and retellings. What remains clear: ships were found empty, crews were lost, the ocean kept its secrets. Let the fog roll over your mind now, soft, cool, erasing thoughts, erasing concerns, leaving only grey, only empty, only quiet. Modern disappearances continue, though technology improves, though GPS replaces compasses, though satellite tracking follows every vessel. Still, the ocean claims its toll. The yacht Connemara, 1955, found adrift, abandoned. The crew had vanished. In their haste, they left behind money, documents, personal items. Whatever frightened them away, it frightened them beyond reason, beyond survival instinct. Breathing slowing, each breath taking longer, the pauses between growing, expanding, filling with dark. The Teignmouth Electron, 1972, found empty in the Caribbean, not exactly in the Triangle, but close enough for the legend to claim it. The lone sailor, Donald Crowhurst, had been attempting to sail solo around the world. His logbooks revealed fabricated positions, fictional progress, the psychology of a man unraveling under pressure and solitude. He stepped off the boat, into the ocean, into history. A suicide, probably, but his body was never found, and the boat drifted on, empty, another ghost ship in a sea of them. Your consciousness is fragmenting, pieces breaking away like ice, drifting, melting, dissolving into the dark water of sleep. The year 1976, the Sylvia L. Ossa, a bulk carrier, vanished while sailing from Brazil toward Philadelphia. The ship sent no distress signal, reported no problems. 37 crew members gone. The Coast Guard searched over 46,000 square miles, found nothing. Another set of names added to the list, another mystery filed away. The Marquess, 1984, a tall ship, a beautiful vessel with masts and rigging like a memory of sailing's golden age, caught in a sudden storm during a race. The ship rolled, capsized, sank within seconds. 19 of the 28 crew died, some survivors. Finally, witnesses to describe the speed of disaster, how quickly triumph becomes tragedy. But even with survivors, even with explanations, the Marquess joined the mythology, became part of the collection. Another ship that shouldn't have sunk, another disaster that felt wrong, felt impossible. Thump, thump, your heartbeat so slow now, so distant, like a drum in another room, in another world. The Genesis, 1999, a research vessel studying marine life, state-of-the-art equipment, experienced scientists. The vessel lost contact with shore. Search teams found nothing, not the ship, not the crew, not a single piece of debris. In 1999, with GPS, with satellite communications, with rescue beacons, still, the ocean could make a ship vanish completely. Let that sink in, the impossibility of it, the way modern technology, satellites watching from space, computers tracking every signal, still couldn't prevent, couldn't explain, couldn't recover. Your body has forgotten how to move, forgotten tension, forgotten effort. You are liquid, spread thin, evaporating into sleep. Some say the disappearances are increasing, that modern ships, modern planes, vanish as frequently as old ones. But the data doesn't support this. Traffic has increased exponentially. Thousands of vessels cross the triangle daily. Millions of passengers fly over each year. The vast majority arrive safely. Statistically, the triangle is safe. But statistics don't stop stories, don't quiet the whispers, don't explain why some vessels, some crews, some moments slip through a crack in reality, and the stories grow, mutate, evolve. Some speak of electronic fog, a strange mist that pilots report flying into, where instruments fail, where time distorts, where minutes pass like hours or hours compress into seconds. Pilots emerge on the other side, sometimes hundreds of miles from where they should be, their fuel mysteriously depleted, their watches running wrong. Bruce Jernan, a pilot who claimed to fly through such a fog in 1970, reported a tunnel forming in the clouds, grey, spinning. He flew into it, feeling his instruments go wild. His electronic equipment failed. His compass spun. Time felt elastic, stretched and compressed. When he emerged, he'd travelled 90 miles in just 3 minutes. Impossible. Yet he was there, his plane intact, his instruments slowly recovering. Hallucination, temporal distortion, equipment malfunction creating false perceptions, or something genuinely anomalous. The questions drift like fog, obscuring answers, creating more mystery, heavier, heavier, your body pressing into the mattress, through the mattress, sinking toward the Earth's core, toward gravity's heart. Theories bloom in the darkness, interdimensional portals, gateways that open randomly, swallowing ships and planes, transporting them elsewhere or elsewhen. Perhaps Flight 19 is still flying in a parallel universe, forever searching for Fort Lauderdale, forever lost. Perhaps the Mary Celeste's crew stepped through a door that opened on deck, walked into another world. The door closed, leaving only an empty ship, evidence of passage. These theories feel like fiction, like fantasy, but they persist because the alternatives are almost as strange, because methane and magnetic fields and rogue waves, while real, while proven, still don't answer every question, still leave gaps where mystery seeps in. Your thoughts are gaps now, spaces, absences. You're forgetting what you were thinking about, forgetting why you're listening, just floating in the narrator's voice, drifting on the sound, safe, held, dissolving, deep beneath the triangle on the ocean floor. Sonar has detected strange formations, geometric shapes that shouldn't exist. Some claim to have found pyramids, crystal structures, evidence of lost civilizations, Atlantis, sleeping under silt and pressure, the Bimini Road, underwater rock formations near the Bahamas, arranged in patterns that look artificial, look constructed. Some say it's a remnant of Atlantis, a road that once led to temples, to cities, to a civilization that understood forces we've forgotten. Scientists say the rocks are natural, beach rock formations, nothing mysterious. But the believers point to right angles, to parallel lines, to arrangements that feel intentional, feel designed. And so the debate continues. Natural or artificial, coincidence or evidence. The ocean keeps the answer buried, compressed under time and water, and we float above, speculating, dreaming. Let yourself dream now, your consciousness thinning like morning fog, burning away in sleep's warm sun. What remains? Just body, just breath. Just this moment, eternal and fleeting, the Sargasso Sea, tangential to the triangle, a region of calm, a gyre where currents circle but don't flow through, the water thick with sargassum seaweed, golden brown, floating in vast mats. In the age of sail, ships became trapped here, becalmed for weeks. Supplies dwindling, crews dying of thirst surrounded by water. Sailors called it the horse latitudes. Legend says they threw horses overboard, reducing weight, reducing mouths to feed. The horses swimming, drowning, their screams echoing across the dead calm, their bones resting on the bottom still. Perhaps mingled with human remains, with ship's timbers, with all the things the sea has swallowed. The Sargasso is not the triangle, but they share borders, share mysteries, share the reputation for danger, for inexplicability. Two regions where the ocean behaves oddly, where sailors whisper warnings. Thump, thump, your heartbeat faint, so faint, like distant thunder, like memory of sound. Ancient maritime maps, from before the triangle had a name, they marked these waters differently. Here be dragons, or simply dangerous currents. Some maps showed sea monsters, serpents with coils that could wrap around ships, pull them under. Artists drew creatures with imagination and with fear, translating sailors' warnings into visual metaphor. Perhaps the monsters were real to them. Were methane eruptions misidentified as creatures surfacing? Were rogue waves seen as sea serpents' backs? When we lack scientific frameworks, we create mythological ones. We name our fears, give them shapes, tell stories to make sense of loss, and the stories comfort in their way. Because a monster can be fought, can be avoided, but random chance, statistical clustering, the indifferent mathematics of probability, those are harder enemies. Those offer no hope of protection, no ritual to ensure safety. So sailors developed superstitions, rituals. Never whistle on a ship, never sail on Friday, throw coins to the sea, ask permission to pass. These rituals create illusion of control, of relationship with forces beyond understanding. And maybe, just maybe, some worked, not because of magic, but because they enforced caution, created mindfulness, slowed reckless behavior. Your mind is slowing to a stop, like a ship becalmed, rocking gently on still water, going nowhere, needing to go nowhere, perfect in stillness. The US government investigated the triangle multiple times. Navy reports, Coast Guard analyses. Each investigation concluded no unusual danger, no supernatural explanations. All disappearances attributable to known causes, weather, human error, mechanical failure. The statistical rate of incidents matches other high-traffic maritime regions. But some conspiracy theorists point to the investigations themselves as evidence of cover-up, of hidden knowledge. Perhaps the government knows what causes the disappearances. Perhaps military experiments, secret weapons tests, acoustic research, submarine warfare practice. Perhaps the triangle is a testing ground, and civilian casualties are accepted losses, collateral damage in classified programs. The theories spiral outward, growing more elaborate, more intricate. Each new detail, each connection, building a structure that feels like truth but stands on speculation. And maybe that's the real mystery, not what happens in the triangle, but why we need the triangle to be mysterious, why we cling to the unexplained, resist simple answers, prefer elaborate theories to mundane reality. Because mundane reality is this: the ocean is vast, powerful, indifferent. It kills without malice, without consciousness. It's water and physics, chemistry and biology. It's not evil. It's not supernatural. It's not trying to swallow us. It simply exists, and we, fragile, small, temporary. We sometimes fail to survive it. Your breath is barely moving now, the shallowest tide, the gentlest wave. Your consciousness is a boat with sails hanging loose, drifting on current alone. No destination, no urgency, just movement, just being. But let's drift deeper still into the psychology of it. The isolation felt by pilots over empty ocean, the fear that comes with being hundreds of miles from land, surrounded by water that would kill you in minutes. Isolation affects perception, creates stress, impairs judgment. Flight 19's leader, Lieutenant Taylor, may have experienced spatial disorientation, a psychological phenomenon where pilots lose sense of which way is up. The horizon merges with sky. All reference points vanish. The inner ear sends false signals. The mind can't reconcile conflicting information. Panic rises. Decisions become erratic. The experienced pilot suddenly flies like a student, making fatal errors. Add to this fatigue, dehydration, fear, the compounding factors that turn small problems into disasters, that make routine flights deadly, that explain impossible mistakes. Your mind is disoriented now, losing track of which thoughts are yours, which are the narrators, which are already dreams, the boundary dissolving, melting away, unimportant. And so we float here, suspended between mystery and explanation, between wonder and understanding. The Bermuda Triangle exists in this space, this liminal zone where stories meet statistics, where fear meets fact. It's a mirror, reflecting what we bring to it. If we seek mystery, we find mystery. If we seek rational explanation, we find that too. Both perspectives true, both incomplete. The triangle is a test, not of navigation or piloting skill, but of epistemology, of how we know what we know, of what we choose to believe when evidence is ambiguous, when explanations feel insufficient, when the universe refuses to make sense. Thump, thump, so slow, so quiet, fading. And beneath it all, beneath theories and statistics, beneath myth and science, the ocean continues, waves rolling, currents flowing, creatures rising from the deep to feed, then sinking back into darkness. The water doesn't care about our questions, our need for answers. It simply moves, eternal, indifferent. Ships cross the triangle every day. Right now, as you sink towards sleep, massive container ships, cruise liners, private yachts, fishing boats, they cross safely, arrive at their destinations, unload their cargo, load new cargo, depart again. The mundane reality of maritime commerce. Thousands of successful voyages for every mystery. But we don't tell stories about the ships that arrive safely. We tell stories about the ones that vanish, because mystery compels us, draws us in, makes us lean closer, listen harder. We're pattern-seeking creatures, finding meaning in chaos, seeing shapes and clouds, connecting dots that may not form pictures. And perhaps that's not a flaw. Perhaps that's how we survived as a species, by being alert to danger, by remembering the outliers, the anomalies, by telling cautionary tales that keep us careful, keep us humble before nature's power. Your breathing, almost imperceptible now, a whisper of movement. Your body has become landscape, still and vast, mountains of shoulders, valleys of ribs, plains of belly, all quiet, all dark, all surrendered to sleep's gravity. The triangle will outlive us, outlive our theories, outlive our need to explain it. Long after humanity vanishes, the ocean will still roll over that patch of Atlantic. Storms will still form. Magnetic anomalies will still confuse compasses that no longer exist. Methane will still bubble up from the deep, to no audience, witnessed by no one, meaningless. And maybe that's the final truth, that meaning exists only in consciousness, only in minds that ask why. When we're gone, the universe returns to simply being, to existing without explanation, without story, without mystery, just physics, just chemistry, just the eternal dance of matter and energy. But we're not gone yet. You're not gone yet. You're here, now, in this moment, in this darkness, floating on the edge of sleep, held by the mattress, held by gravity, held by the voice that's been with you, drifting, drifting. And the mysteries continue, pulling us forward, pulling us deeper into stories within stories, into questions that breed more questions. The 1960s brought new disappearances, new technologies, new ways to vanish. Radar improved, yet planes still disappeared from screens. Communication expanded, yet distress calls still cut off mid-sentence. The triangle adapted, evolved, remained mysterious despite progress. Let your consciousness drift with the decades. The 1970s, disco lights on shore, but darkness over water. New disappearances joining the catalogue, joining the long whisper of names. The Snowboy, a freighter lost with 40 crew, somewhere between New York and the Caribbean, 1963. The vessel radioed normal operations, then silence. Rescue aircraft searched, found an empty lifeboat, floating, empty, no bodies, no ship, just evidence that someone tried to escape, tried to survive, and failed. Your eyelids sealed shut, not sleeping yet, but not waking either, suspended, floating in the space between infrasound, frequencies below human hearing, but felt rather than heard, vibrations that create unease, nausea, fear. The ocean produces infrasound naturally, from waves, from geological activity, from the movement of massive water masses. Certain frequencies affect human psychology, trigger panic responses, create the overwhelming urge to flee. Could infrasound explain why crews abandoned seaworthy ships, why people jumped into lifeboats, into certain death, fleeing invisible danger? The body responding to signals the mind doesn't recognize, ancient survival instincts overriding reason. Let your body respond now to the rhythm of this voice, to the pull of sleep, ancient instincts recognizing safety, recognizing rest, letting go. The Puerto Rico Trench, plunging 5 miles down, deeper than Everest, is tall, pressure crushing, darkness absolute. Down there, the water is near freezing, even in tropical latitudes. Down there, strange creatures exist, adapted to conditions that would pulverize surface life. Creatures we've barely catalogued, barely understand. And somewhere in that trench, perhaps, lie the answers. The wreckage of Flight 19, the hull of the Cyclops, hundreds of vessels, thousands of souls, all resting in the sediment, compressed by time and pressure, becoming geology, becoming part of the seafloor, hidden, silent, eternal. Thump, thump, your heart beating in rhythm with the deep, slow, steady, ancient, very low-frequency communications, VLF, used by submarines, by military installations. The signals penetrate water, travel through the ocean, reach vessels in the deep. But VLF can also interfere with navigation, with radio, create dead zones where normal communication fails. The Caribbean host military bases, listening stations, submarine operations. The Triangle sits amid these installations. Could military activity explain some disappearances? Not conspiracy, not cover-up, just operational security, classified movements, ships and planes in wrong places at wrong times, accidents swept under classification, buried in redacted files. Your thoughts are classified now, archived, filed away, inaccessible even to you. Let them go. Let security clearance expire. Let the files dissolve. Deep sea currents, different from surface currents, flowing in opposite directions, creating shear zones where different layers of water slide past each other. These boundaries can trap debris, carry it along invisible highways, distribute wreckage across ocean basins, make reconstruction impossible, make finding the truth impossible. A plane crashes, breaks apart, the pieces sink, but they don't sink straight down. They drift in the current, scatter. Some pieces swept to the Caribbean, some to the North Atlantic, some to Europe. The search area expands infinitely. The needle hides in a haystack the size of an ocean. Feel yourself scattering, dissolving into the current. Pieces of consciousness drifting apart. No center, no cohesion, just presence, diffused, peaceful. The hazards of low-altitude flight. Pilots flying close to water to avoid weather, to maintain visual reference. But at low altitude, time to react compresses. A mechanical problem becomes a disaster in seconds. No altitude to trade for airspeed. No room for error. Just water, rushing up, impact, silence. Flight 19 flew low, searching for landmarks, for islands, for anything familiar. The lower they flew, the more fuel they burned, the heavier the planes became. When fuel ran out, they had no choice. Ditching in the ocean at night, in rough seas, even with perfect execution, survival unlikely, recovery impossible. Your body is heavy, so heavy, pressed flat, compressed. No air left to rise, just sinking, sinking. Naval architecture, ship design, some vessels built with fatal flaws, weak spots in hulls, inadequate safety measures. The Marine Sulphur Queen had documented structural issues, cracks in the hull, concerns about the tanks carrying superheated sulphur, but economics overruled caution. Ships sailed because cargo needed moving, profits needed making. The sea collected its toll for human hubris. Breathe out, release. Release the tension of holding together. Let structure fail. Let architecture collapse. Just be formless. Just be water. Insurance fraud. The unromantic explanation. Some disappearances weren't mysterious, were criminal. Owners scuttling ships. Crews abandoning vessels in international waters. Collecting insurance payouts, starting new lives. The ocean provides perfect cover. No body, no ship, no proof, just a claim, a payout, a successful crime. Not every mystery has supernatural explanations. Some mysteries are just old-fashioned greed, human calculation. The Triangle's reputation making fraud easier, making questions less persistent. The legend serving as cover for crime. Your consciousness is a sinking ship now. Crew abandoned. Holds flooding. Slipping beneath the surface. No investigation needed. Just letting go. The Caribbean's pirate history. Centuries of wrecking, of luring ships to reefs with false lights, of raiding, killing. The Triangle's waters ran red with intentional violence long before the age of mystery. Modern piracy still exists. Drug runners, smugglers, vessels encountering the wrong boat in the wrong waters, disappearing not mysteriously, but violently, sunk deliberately, crews murdered, the ocean hiding evidence of crime. Not every sailor lost was lost mysteriously. Some knew exactly what was happening, saw their killers' faces, died understanding, but unable to tell. Let understanding fade, let knowing dissolve. Just drift in not knowing, in the peaceful ignorance of approaching sleep. Psychological effects of isolation, long voyages, weeks at sea. The mind begins to fracture. Sailors report visions, hear voices, see things that aren't there. Isolation psychosis, cabin fever. The vastness of ocean reflecting the vastness of loneliness, driving people mad, captains behaving erratically, making poor decisions. The captain of the Cyclops was reportedly unstable. The crew of the Carol A. Deering seemed to be fleeing their captain. Perhaps some mysteries are simply tragedies of mental health, of people breaking under pressure, taking others down with them. Your mind is vast ocean now, thoughts like ships, distant, small, disappearing over the horizon, leaving emptiness, leaving peace. Search and rescue technology evolved. From signal fires on shore, to radio beacons, to satellite tracking, to AI-coordinated drone swarms. Yet still, people vanish. The technology improves, but the ocean remains too large, too deep, too fast at swallowing evidence. The golden hour, the critical time after a disaster when survivors can still be saved. In the Triangle, with currents and wind and vast distances, the golden hour expires before search teams even know something is wrong. By the time the alarm sounds, survivors are already beyond help, already claimed. Time is expiring now for waking consciousness. The golden hour of alertness passing, gone. Only sleep remains, only surrender, media sensationalism. The term Bermuda Triangle was coined by Vincent Gaddis in 1964 in a pulp magazine article. The name caught fire, spread, became iconic. Newspapers loved it. Television loved it. Book publishers loved it. The mystery sold. So the mystery grew, fed by exaggeration, by connecting unrelated incidents, by ignoring contradictory evidence. The Bermuda Triangle effect, the psychological phenomenon where confirmation bias creates patterns from randomness. We remember the disappearances, forget the safe passages, count the mysteries, ignore the statistics. The legend perpetuates itself, becomes self-fulfilling, shapes perception. But you don't need to perceive now, don't need to remember, don't need to count or calculate. Just exist, just breathe, just drift. Mathematical clustering illusion. If you plot enough data points randomly, clusters appear. Not because of underlying cause, but because of probability. Random events clump together, create the appearance of patterns. The human brain sees the pattern, invents explanations, builds narratives. The triangle might be nothing more than this, a cluster that looks meaningful, but signifies nothing. The same number of disappearances would happen anywhere, but we named this region, drew its boundaries, gave it identity, and so it exists, as much in our minds as in the ocean. Your thoughts are clustering, grouping, merging, becoming a single mass, a single dark, a single nothing. Anomalous radar blips, phantom targets appearing on screens, moving, then vanishing. Military radar operators report these constantly, mostly identified as atmospheric phenomena, weather patterns creating false echoes, but sometimes the blips remain unexplained, moving in ways weather cannot, exhibiting intelligence, then gone. Are these glitches, atmospheric anomalies, or something else? Surveillance craft from foreign powers, experimental technology? Or are the conspiracy theorists right? Are they not of this world, not of this dimension? The questions echo into darkness, into silence. No answers return, just echo, fading, gone. The 1967 Revenos, a speedboat found drifting, engine running, radio on, navigation lights functioning, but the crew, 3 experienced watermen, vanished. No storm, no distress, no explanation, just absence. The boat perfectly preserved, like a museum display, like a tomb. What makes people leave? What fear is strong enough? What did they see? What did they know in their final moments? Let the questions drift away, unanswered, unneeded. Let mystery be mystery, temporal loop hypotheses, physics at the fringe, theories that time isn't linear, that it loops, that certain locations exist in multiple time periods simultaneously. Perhaps the triangle is one such location, a fold in space-time where past and present overlap, where vessels slip from one era to another, forever lost, but also forever arriving, caught in eternal loop, Flight 19 still flying, the crew still searching, still transmitting, we don't know which way is west, forever in their timeline, while we, in ours, search for wreckage that exists in another temporal dimension. The theory feels like science fiction, but physics allows for temporal distortions near strong gravitational fields, near massive energy sources. Could the deep trenches, the magnetic anomalies, the electromagnetic fields create localized time distortions? Could, but probably not. But maybe. Your sense of time is distorting now. Has it been minutes or hours? Are you still awake or already dreaming? Does it matter? Time is liquid, flowing, pooling, becoming timeless, geomagnetic reversal. The Earth's magnetic field flips periodically, north becoming south, south becoming north. It's happened hundreds of times. The process takes thousands of years, but during the transition, the magnetic field weakens, becomes chaotic. Multiple poles appear. Compasses go wild. Navigation becomes impossible. We're overdue for a reversal. The magnetic field is weakening. Could the triangle be experiencing early effects? Could it be a zone where the field is particularly unstable, where magnetic chaos reigns, where navigational instruments fail because the planet itself is confused? Another theory, another possibility, another thread in the tapestry of explanations. None proven, none impossible, all drifting, floating, thump, thump, your heartbeat barely audible, a rumour of rhythm, a memory of pulse, acoustic shadows beneath the triangle, zones where sound doesn't propagate normally, where sonar returns strange echoes, where submarines report ghost signals, phantom pings. The underwater topography creates these shadows, reflects sound in unexpected ways, makes mapping difficult, makes finding wreckage nearly impossible. A ship could lie in an acoustic shadow, forever hidden, sonar passing over it, detecting nothing. The wreckage might be found accidentally, by a drifting submersible, by a deep-sea probe, decades later, far from the search area, proving nothing, explaining nothing. Your consciousness is in an acoustic shadow now, signals passing over you, detecting nothing. You are hidden, protected, safe in invisibility. Deep-sea sonar ghost images. Sometimes sonar detects structures that shouldn't exist. Geometric formations, right angles, parallel lines. The images are analysed, debated, usually explained as natural formations, as pareidolia, seeing patterns in randomness. But sometimes, the images resist explanation, remain mysterious, remain possible. Could ancient civilizations have built in these waters, before sea levels rose, before catastrophe? Could remnants exist, buried, waiting? Or are these formations entirely natural? Volcanic activity, tectonic processes, the earth-building geometries accidentally. The ghosts may be geological, not supernatural, but ghosts nonetheless. Shadows of what might have been, or might never have been. Let yourself become a ghost, substance fading, becoming shadow, becoming less, becoming almost nothing. Submerged volcanic gas eruptions, carbon dioxide, methane, hydrogen sulfide, rising from cracks in the seafloor. The gases create columns of bubbles, fountains of gas-saturated water. Ships caught in these eruptions lose buoyancy, sink immediately. No time to react, no time to understand. Just sudden descent, crushing pressure, death. These eruptions are rare, unpredictable. The triangle sits over active geology, over faults and cracks, over magma chambers. The possibility exists. The mechanism is understood, but proving it requires finding evidence, and evidence sinks, scatters, disappears. Sinking. Feel yourself descending, pressure building, but not painful, not crushing, just encompassing, embracing, pulling you down into rest. Rogue submarines during wartime. The Triangle saw heavy military activity. World War I, World War II, the Cold War. Submarines prowling, torpedoes fired, ships sunk, some victims never identified, some attacks never acknowledged, classified operations, secret sinkings, the ocean covering military secrets. The Cyclops disappeared during World War I. Could German U-boats have sunk her without reporting? Could military records have been lost or deliberately destroyed? The fog of war is thick, impenetrable. Many truths died with the sailors who knew them. Your thoughts are classified, archived beyond reach, beyond clearance, beyond caring, just gone, filed away in darkness. Psychic predictions, prophecies. Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. He spoke of Atlantis, of crystals beneath the triangle, of energy sources still active, still dangerous. His followers believe the triangle is cursed, that ancient technology malfunctions modern vessels, that we're trespassing on sacred ground. Skeptics dismiss this, understandably. No evidence supports psychic claims. No mechanism exists for crystal energy. It's fantasy, wishful thinking. But the prophecies persist. The believers remain convinced, and strange events continue. Feeding belief, perpetuating mystery. Believe or don't, it doesn't matter now. Nothing matters but the slow descent into sleep, into darkness, into dreams. Lost black box recordings, missing data. Some crashed aircraft in the Triangle were equipped with voice recorders, flight data recorders. But these were never recovered, never provided answers. The ocean keeps them, somewhere in the deep. The last words of pilots rest on tape, degrading, dissolving, becoming silence again. What would those recordings reveal? Panic, confusion, mechanical failure? Or would they reveal something else? Something impossible? Something we're not ready to understand? The recordings drift in the current, along with all other lost things, including your consciousness, fragmenting, dispersing. Magnetosphere fluctuations. The Earth's magnetic field extends into space, protects us from solar radiation. But the field fluctuates, weakens, strengthens, creates zones of vulnerability. The triangle might lie in such a zone, where cosmic rays penetrate more easily, where radiation affects electronics, affects human cognition, creates errors, creates disasters. Pilots flying through high radiation zones report instrument failures, report feeling disoriented, nauseous. The symptoms match radiation exposure, but proving this requires data, requires evidence, and evidence vanishes with the aircraft. Your cognition is fluctuating, thoughts flickering, dimming, approaching blackout, approaching the beautiful darkness of sleep, missing weather balloons. Research instruments launched to study upper atmosphere. Most return data normally, but some, released over the triangle, go silent. Telemetry stops. GPS signals end. The balloons drift away, or fall into the ocean, or simply cease. Another small mystery, another unexplained loss. Even our eyes in the sky, our instruments of observation, disappear. The triangle claims everything: impartial, indiscriminate, electromagnetic dead zones, navigation drift. GPS relies on satellites, on clear signal reception, but certain atmospheric conditions create interference, ionospheric disturbances, solar flares. The triangle's location makes it vulnerable. Signals degrade. Position data becomes unreliable. Aircraft drift off course, unknowing, until fuel runs out, until water appears below, until too late. Modern navigation assumed perfect, assumed infallible, until it fails, and fails catastrophically. You're drifting off course now, away from waking, towards sleep. The drift is natural, welcome, inevitable. Shimmering horizons, mirage phenomena, light bending through layers of different temperature, creating false horizons, false islands, pilots seeing land where none exists, flying toward phantom coastlines until fuel exhausts, until the mirage dissolves, until ocean remains, only ocean. The mind tricks itself. The eye cannot be trusted. Reality becomes negotiable when exhaustion and desperation combine. Your mind is a mirage now, seeming solid, but only light and air, only illusion, dissolving as you approach. The 1969 National Geographic expeditions, scientific investigations, proper research vessels, proper equipment, they found nothing definitive. Some anomalies, some unusual readings, but nothing that proved supernatural, nothing that couldn't be explained by natural phenomena. The expedition concluded. The triangle is a legend, not a reality. The disappearances are real, but the pattern is not. Statistics are normal, explanations are mundane. The mystery is human creation, not ocean phenomenon, but legends don't die from lack of evidence. Legends thrive on mystery, grow stronger when challenged. The expedition's findings changed nothing. The legend continued, continues still. Legends are immortal, but you are not. You are mortal, tired, ready to surrender to sleep's embrace. Government investigations, declassified files, thousands of pages released, reports from Navy, Coast Guard, Federal Aviation Administration, all reaching similar conclusions. No unusual danger, no special properties. The triangle is ocean, Nothing more, nothing less. But declassified files also show redactions, blacked out passages, removed sections, entire documents withheld for national security. And so the conspiracy theorists point. See? They're hiding something. The truth is classified. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. Maybe the redactions are mundane, protecting sources, protecting methods, or maybe there are secrets. Maybe some things remain hidden for good reason. The truth is hidden now, behind eyelids, behind the veil of approaching sleep, and you don't need to find it, don't need to know, just need to rest. Secret military testing grounds, the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, OTEC, located in the tongue of the ocean, near the triangle's boundaries, a facility for testing submarines, testing weapons, testing classified technology. The Navy acknowledges UTEC's existence, but not all its activities. Could testing explain disappearances, accidental interference, vessels wandering into restricted zones during exercises? The military neither confirms nor denies. The conspiracy theories flourish, fed by secrecy, by coincidence, by the human need to find intentional causes for random tragedy. But intention or randomness, it matters less and less as sleep approaches, as caring fades, as consciousness dims. Triangulation errors in early flight logs. Before GPS, navigation relied on celestial observation, on dead reckoning, on radio beacons, all subject to error, all vulnerable to confusion. A cloud covering the sun, a miscalculated heading, a misidentified landmark. The errors compound. The aircraft drifts hundreds of miles off course, and when disaster strikes, search teams look in the wrong ocean, find nothing, conclude mystery. Sometimes mystery is just mistake, compounded by tragedy, amplified by time. Your navigation is failing now. You don't know where you are, if you're still listening, still conscious, or already dreaming. The boundaries blur, dissolve, become irrelevant. The Dragon's Triangle, near Japan, called the Devil's Sea, Mano Umi. Reports of disappearances similar to the Bermuda Triangle, ships vanishing, aircraft losing contact. The Japanese government investigated in the 1950s, sent a research vessel, the Kaio Maru No. 5. It vanished, all crew lost. The investigation ended. Two triangles, opposite sides of the world, similar legends, similar fears. Are they connected? Is there a global pattern, a network of dangerous zones? Or are they both examples of the same phenomenon? Confirmation bias, statistical clustering, humans finding patterns in randomness, creating mythology from misfortune. The pattern connects, or doesn't. You can't tell anymore, can't focus, can't hold the thread of thought. Oceanic noise patterns, unknown rhythms. Deep sea microphones record sounds from the abyss. Most identified, whale song, seismic activity, ice breaking. But some sounds resist identification. The bloop, Julia, slow down. Sounds that suggest enormous sources. creatures or phenomena unknown. Could these sounds be related to disappearances? Could unknown phenomena in the deep affect vessels above? Or are they simply new sounds, new discoveries, unrelated to any mystery? The ocean keeps producing mysteries. Solving one reveals 10 more. It's mysteries all the way down, 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 sinking toward the bottom, toward the silence where mysteries rest unsolved, where questions dissolve into sediment, unmarked wrecks found by deep drones. Modern exploration discovers shipwrecks constantly, some identified, matched to known losses, but others, no registry, no record. Ships that vanished without being missed, or vanished so long ago the records themselves vanished. Ghost ships becoming real, briefly, before sinking back into obscurity. Each wreck is a story, a disaster, lives ended, but the stories are lost, the hulls remain, silent witnesses, forever silent. You are becoming silent, words fading, thoughts fading, only silence expanding, beautiful, complete, recovered debris without registration records, pieces of aircraft found on beaches, fragments of ships washed ashore, but no serial numbers, no identifying marks, nothing to trace them, nothing to solve the mystery, just evidence that something happened, somewhere, sometime, to someone. The ocean delivers its messages, but delivers them encrypted, the code lost, the meaning forever obscure. Meaning is obscure now, everything obscure, fading into grey, into dark, into the space where sleep lives. Unidentified oil slicks. Satellite imaging detects them constantly. Sheens on the water, evidence of leaking vessels, but the source is unknown. The currents carry the oil far from the wreck. The connection cannot be made. Another mystery marked, filed, forgotten, thump, thump, so faint, so distant, like a ship, far away, disappearing over the edge, glowing sea mist, ionized particles. Sailors report phosphorescence, luminous fog, water that glows. The Caribbean hosts bioluminescent organisms, dinoflagellates that spark when disturbed, turning waves electric blue, storms creating light shows, natural, beautiful, but to tired, frightened sailors, supernatural, terrifying. Could glowing mist explain ghost ships, phantom lights, the ocean creating illusions, the mind interpreting them as impossible, natural phenomena mistaken for mystery? The pattern repeats throughout history, throughout the triangle. What we don't understand, we make supernatural, but understanding is beyond you now, beyond reach, beyond need. Let the glow fade, let darkness return, pure, complete, distress calls ending mid-transmission. Mayday, mayday, this is silence. The radio cutting off, not fading, not degrading, just stopping, as if a switch was thrown, as if the ship ceased to exist mid-word. These partial transmissions haunt investigators. What happened in that final instant? Power failure, catastrophic damage, or something else? Something that stopped the transmission? and the transmitter and the entire vessel in the space between syllables. Your transmissions are ending now, thoughts cutting off, mid-formation, consciousness seizing, word by word, breath by breath. Psychotronic field theories, fringe science, claims that certain locations emit fields that affect human consciousness, affect electronics. The triangle might generate such fields, naturally or artificially. The fields causing hallucinations, causing errors, causing crews to abandon ships, causing pilots to fly into the ocean, believing they're landing on runways. The theory lacks evidence, lacks mechanism, lacks credibility, but it persists because it feels like explanation, feels like understanding, even if it's built on nothing but speculation. All theories are equal now, all weightless, all meaningless, drifting away like smoke, like fog, like sleep's soft approach, underwater acoustic resonance, hull vibrations. Certain frequencies cause metal to vibrate, sympathetic resonance. If a ship's hull matches the frequency of ocean noise, of submarine sounds, of underwater acoustics, the hull could shake itself apart, the rivets failing, the seams splitting, the ship breaking up, not from external force, but from internal vibration, singing itself to death. Another theory, another possibility, another way the ocean might kill without malice, without consciousness, just physics, just the eternal mathematics of wave and matter. Mathematics is dissolving, numbers losing meaning, counting impossible. One breath, or thousands, same thing, eternal thing. Ancient maritime maps, drawn before the triangle had its name. Some show strange notations in these waters. Here be dragons, treacherous currents, warnings in Latin, in Arabic. Sailors from different cultures, different eras, noting the same region as dangerous. Did they know something? Experience something? Or did the legend start even then, passed from ship to ship, port to port, becoming older, more authoritative, more true with each retelling? Maps are folding now, creasing, disappearing into drawers, into archives. You don't need maps, don't need navigation. You're already here, already home, in the dark. Mathematical chaos, probability models. Chaos theory suggests that small changes in initial conditions create massive differences in outcomes. A butterfly flapping wings, eventually causing a hurricane. A pilot adjusting course by 1 degree, eventually flying into oblivion. The triangle might be a chaos amplifier, where tiny errors become catastrophic, where the margin for safety shrinks to nothing. Not supernatural, no, just mathematical. The universe being precisely itself, precisely unpredictable. Predictions are impossible now. Your trajectory unknown, unknowable. You drift, chaos and order merging, becoming the same thing, becoming sleep. Recent satellite anomalies. Modern satellites occasionally lose signal over the triangle. Not common, not consistent, but documented. GPS degradation, communication dropouts, lasting seconds, minutes. The satellites recover, resume function, as if passing through an interference zone. What causes this? Atmospheric conditions, space weather, magnetic anomalies, or something else? Something localized, something we haven't identified? Another question, joining thousands, joining millions, all floating, all unanswered, all drifting toward the horizon where answers live or don't. The Witch's Hole, the 1909 spray incident, Joshua Slocum, the first man to sail solo around the world, vanished on a voyage from Martha's Vineyard towards South America. Experienced sailor, capable vessel. He simply disappeared. No distress, no wreckage, no trace. The spray was last reported near the Orinoco River, near the Triangle's edge. Some say Slocum was struck by a ship. Others say he encountered the Witch's Hole, a legendary whirlpool, a vortex that opens without warning, swallows vessels, closes again, leaving no evidence. Whirlpools exist, maelstroms, but none permanent, none large enough to swallow ships without trace. Still, the legend persists. The Witch's Hole, waiting, hungry, patient, holes in reality, holes in consciousness. Feel yourself approaching one. Feel the pull, the spiral, down, down, into darkness, into sleep. Beautiful, irresistible, inevitable. The vanishing yacht Connemara IV, 1955, found drifting, abandoned. The crew had fled in panic, leaving everything: money, documents, personal treasures. Whatever frightened them was more terrifying than dying in the ocean, more certain than whatever safety the yacht provided. What did they see? What did they hear? What did they know in those final moments before abandoning ship? We'll never know. They never survived to tell. Their silence is complete, eternal. Join their silence now. Let words fade. Let knowing end. The 1972 Teignmouth Electron. The suicide voyage. Donald Crowhurst, attempting to sail solo around the world. His logbooks revealed fabricated positions, invented progress, the psychology of a man unraveling, alone with ocean and thoughts, for months, the isolation destroying him, breaking his grip on reality. His final log entries spoke of cosmic games, of becoming one with time, of understanding mysteries at the cost of sanity. Then he stepped off the boat, into the water, into forever. The ocean took him gently, probably. The water is warm here. Death by drowning. They say it's peaceful. After the panic, after the struggle. The body surrenders, the mind releases. Sleep comes, eternal sleep. You're surrendering now, releasing. No struggle, no panic, just letting go, just floating down. The ghostly radio echoes of the SS Cotopaxi, lost in 1925, another cargo ship, another disappearance, vanished between Charleston and Havana. Years later, ships reported receiving radio signals. The Cotopaxi's call sign. Faint, impossible. The ship was gone, but the signals continued. Echoes from the past, or from somewhere else. Radio waves can bounce, reflect, travel impossible distances under right conditions. Or maybe the reports were mistakes, misidentifications, wishful thinking. Or maybe the Cotopaxi still broadcasts from whatever dimension it fell into, still calling for help, forever. Your signals are echoing now, bouncing in the dark, growing fainter, fainter, soon to cease entirely. The 1967 Revenock speedboat paradox. 3 men, experienced watermen, their boat found running, functioning, but empty. They knew these waters, knew what to fear, knew what to avoid. Yet something made them leave, made them choose certain death over staying aboard. The paradox unsolvable, the boat perfect, the crew gone, the ocean indifferent. Paradoxes dissolve in sleep, contradictions merge. Everything becomes possible and nothing matters. Just drifting, just being. The disappearance of the Angel's Glow, 1980. A private aircraft, pilot and passengers, routine flight. The plane radioed position, reported normal operations. Then, the pilot transmitted something strange. There's a glow surrounding the aircraft. Everything's glowing, instruments failing, where silence, electrical phenomenon, St. Elmo's fire, ball lightning, or something else. Something that made the plane glow, made instruments fail, made everyone aboard vanish. The search found nothing, no glowing debris and no evidence, just another name, another mystery, another whisper in the catalogue. You're glowing now, from within, soft light, fading light, like a firefly at dawn, flickering, dimming, going dark. The 1941 USS Wasp phantom sighting. Sailors on other vessels reported seeing the aircraft carrier months after it sank. The Wasp was torpedoed, confirmed sunk, but witnesses swore they saw it, steaming through the triangle, intact, operational, a ghost carrier, crewed by ghost sailors, forever on patrol. Misidentification, another carrier mistaken for the Wasp, or collective hallucination, mass psychology creating shared vision, or maybe ghosts are real. Maybe the ocean keeps echoes, impressions, recordings of what was, playing back randomly, witnessed by those unlucky enough to be watching. You're becoming a ghost, substance fading, presence dimming. Soon you'll be memory, then dream, then nothing at all. The 1950 Sandra cargo ship Mirage. Multiple vessels reported seeing the Sandra weeks after it vanished. The ship appeared on the horizon, clear, detailed, then dissolved, like mist, like illusion. Witnesses compared notes, described identical details, all seeing the same impossible vision, atmospheric optics, light bending, images of the Sandra captured somehow, reflected from wherever it sank, projected onto the sky, a natural hologram, or wishful thinking, hope-creating vision, sailors wanting to believe, wanting to find, seeing what wasn't there. Reality and illusion merge. You can't tell which is which. Don't need to tell. Both are dreams now, equally valid, equally false. The 1976 Sylvia L. Ossa bulk carrier, 37 crew, vanished between Galveston and Brazil. Modern ship, modern communications, modern mystery. The search covered 46,000 square miles, found nothing, absolutely nothing. How does a ship that large disappear completely? How do 37 people leave no trace? The ocean is vast, but not infinite. Wreckage should float, should scatter, should be found. Eventually, but eventually never came. The Ossa remains lost. The crew remains gone. The mystery remains unsolved. Eventually sleep comes. Eventually consciousness ends. Eventually everything dissolves into the vast, into the dark, into peace. The 1984 Marquess Tall ship sinking. 19 died. 9 survived. Finally witnesses. Finally run testimony. They described the storm, the sudden violence, the ship rolling, capsizing, sinking in seconds. They described the shock, the cold, the impossible speed of disaster. But even with survivors, even with explanation, the sinking felt wrong, felt impossible. A tall ship built to survive storms, a crew experienced and capable. It shouldn't have sunk, shouldn't have killed, but it did. The ocean doesn't care about shouldn't, doesn't respect experience, doesn't follow rules. It simply is, and sometimes being is fatal. You are simply being now, no thought, no intention, no will, just existing, barely fading. The 1999 Genesis research vessel, scientists studying ocean, disappeared into ocean. The irony bitter, tragic. The Genesis had equipment, had protocol, had redundant systems. Nothing helped. The sea took them, as it takes everyone eventually, even research, even understanding, even knowledge, cannot prevent mystery, cannot guarantee safety. The ocean is larger than knowledge, deeper than understanding. Understanding fades now. Knowledge dissolves. You sink below comprehension into pure experience, pure sensation, pure darkness. Climate change's hidden role, ocean temperatures rising, storm intensity increasing, weather patterns destabilizing. The triangle sits in Hurricane Alley. The hurricanes are growing stronger, more frequent, more unpredictable. Modern disappearances might be increasing, not because of supernatural forces, but because of environmental collapse, because we've changed the ocean, changed the atmosphere, changed the rules, and now we're living with consequences. The mystery evolving, adapting, becoming contemporary. The triangle reflects our era, our fears, our guilt, our understanding that we've broken something and the breaking isn't finished. But guilt dissolves in sleep. Fear fades. Responsibility releases. Nothing remains but rest, darkness, peace, cursed artifacts from the deep. Treasure hunters bring up relics, Spanish gold, colonial artifacts, ship's bells, and sometimes afterward, bad luck follows. Relationships end, businesses fail, health deteriorates. Coincidence? Of course. But the believers see patterns, see curses, see the ocean reclaiming what was taken. Some divers return artifacts, throw them back, make peace with the sea. The bad luck ends. or seems to, confirmation bias, or genuine curse. The line blurs. Your artifacts are sinking back now. Memories, thoughts, dreams, all returning to the deep, all reclaimed, all released. Fictional crossovers in horror. The triangle appears in movies, books, television, each version adding details, creating lore, building a mythology more powerful than fact. The fiction and reality interweave, become inseparable. People experience the triangle through fiction first, then interpret real events through fictional framework. The legend feeds itself, grows stronger, becomes more real than reality. You're crossing over now, from waking to sleep, from real to dream. The border dissolving, gone. You're through, you're home. Survivor guilt narratives. Those who escaped, who survived when others died. They carry weight. They tell stories tinged with guilt, with wonder at their own existence, with the knowledge that they were spared when others weren't. Why did they survive? Random chance? Skill? Or were they chosen, selected by forces unknown, permitted to witness, to remember, to warn? No survivors remain now. Everyone asleep, everyone dreaming, everyone drifting, safe, held, forgiven. Cryptozoological whispers, sea monsters, giant squid, megalodon, creatures thought extinct or never discovered. Could they explain disappearances? Could unknown predators hunt in the triangle? Giant squid are real, grow to 40 feet, could attack vessels, could pull them down, but no evidence supports this. No tentacle marks on recovered debris, no witnesses, just possibility, just imagination. Let imagination drift away, let possibility fade. Nothing hunts here now, nothing threatens, only sleep, only rest, only darkness welcoming you. Quantum echo theories, fringe physics, the idea that reality branches, that multiple timelines exist, that quantum events create splits, and perhaps, in the triangle, the branches grow closer, overlap, allow passage between. Flight 19 didn't crash, didn't sink. It branched, exists now in parallel timeline, forever flying, forever searching, the crew alive in their reality, while in ours, they're gone, unprovable, unfalsifiable, but compelling. The mystery explained by invoking larger mystery, answers that create more questions, questions dissolving, branches merging, all timelines becoming one timeline, the timeline of sleep, eternal, unchanging, unsolved rescue missions, teams sent to find the lost, themselves becoming lost, the PBM Mariner searching for Flight 19, the ship searching for the Cyclops, the aircraft searching for the Star Tiger, rescue becoming disaster, help becoming loss. The triangle claims rescuers, claims witnesses, claims anyone who comes looking, consumes curiosity, punishes investigation, remains mysterious by eliminating those who would solve it. No rescue needed now. You're not lost. You're exactly where you should be. Here, now, sleeping, safe. Tech probes gone wrong. The 2025 AI drone swarm, latest in a long line. Autonomous submarines lost. Weather balloons vanished. satellites experiencing glitches, even our most advanced technology, fallible, vulnerable, mortal. The triangle humbles technology, reminds us that tools are just tools, that machines cannot protect us, that despite progress, despite advancement, the ocean remains unconquered, unconquerable. Progress stops now, advancement ceases. You return to simplicity, to basics, to body breathing, heart beating, consciousness fading, nothing more needed. Cultural rituals for safe passage. Caribbean sailors throw coins to the sea, whisper prayers, avoid sailing on certain dates. These rituals create illusion of control, of relationship with forces beyond understanding. Do they work? Statistically, no. But psychologically, yes. The ritual creates calm, creates confidence, and confidence prevents panic, prevents errors, perhaps saves lives. Not because the ocean listens, but because the sailor does. Your ritual is this: listening, breathing, releasing, and it works. Sleep approaches, peace arrives, the ritual complete, the mathematical clustering illusion. Our brains evolved to detect patterns, to see faces in clouds, to hear voices in wind, to find meaning in randomness. The triangle might be nothing more than this: pattern recognition gone wrong. Meaningful seeming cluster arising from meaningless data. But even if true, even if the triangle is illusion, the ship still sank, the planes still crashed, the people still died. The mystery might be false, but the tragedies are real. Truth and illusion merging, becoming indistinguishable, becoming irrelevant. Sleep is the only truth now, the only reality that matters. Acoustic shadows beneath the triangle, zones of silence underwater, where sound cannot penetrate. Wrecks could lie there, invisible to sonar, invisible to search, forever hidden, forever lost. The ocean's secret graves, quiet, dark, eternal. You're entering an acoustic shadow now, where thoughts cannot penetrate, where consciousness cannot reach. Only silence, only darkness, only peace. The theory of submerged volcanic gas eruptions. We return to this because it explains so much. Methane bubbling up, reducing water density, ships dropping like stones, and the eruptions are unpredictable. Random. Could occur anywhere, anytime. A ship could be sailing, crew relaxed, everything normal. Then, the water beneath them erupts, bubbles rise, buoyancy disappears, the ship plunges. No time to react, no time to understand, just descent, darkness, death. You're descending now, not into death, into sleep. But the sensation's similar, the release, the surrender, the sinking into darkness. Peaceful, natural, right. The role of rogue submarines during wartime, already mentioned, but worth repeating. The triangle saw combat, saw conflict, saw death dealt deliberately. Not every mystery is mysterious. Some disappearances were murders, acts of war, the ocean hiding crimes along with accidents, mixing tragedy with treachery. Impossible to separate now. Separation ending. categories dissolving, war and peace, life and death, wake and sleep, all merging, all becoming one thing, one dark, one rest. Lost black box recordings. They would answer so much, reveal so much, but they rest on the bottom. Batteries dead, cases corroded, data degrading. Even if found, even if recovered, the answers might be unreadable, destroyed by time and pressure. Some mysteries remain mysteries forever. Some questions never receive answers. And maybe that's acceptable. Maybe not knowing is okay. Not knowing is beautiful now, liberating. You don't need to know anything, don't need to understand, just need to drift, just need to sleep. Magnetosphere fluctuations and communication dropouts, solar storm and cosmic rays, the Earth's magnetic shield fluctuating, creating zones where communication fails, where electronics malfunction. The triangle might sit in such a zone, vulnerable to space weather, vulnerable to forces beyond Earth. But space is far away now. Earth is far away. You're here, in bed, in dark, in warmth. Nothing threatens, nothing matters. Just this, just now. The enigma of missing weather balloons, small mysteries within large mystery. Balloons launched over the triangle, instruments reporting, then ceasing. The balloons drifting, or falling, or simply ending. Even our eyes above, our instruments aloft, cannot maintain contact, cannot stay connected. The triangle disrupts, interferes, isolates. You're isolated now, separated from the waking world, drifting away, alone, but not lonely. Isolation becoming peace, becoming rest. Electromagnetic dead zones and navigation drift. GPS signals degrading. Compasses spinning. Navigation systems failing. Pilots and sailors suddenly blind, suddenly lost, making decisions based on guesswork, on hope, on prayer. Sometimes they guess right, sometimes they don't. The margin between survival and death, microscopic. The difference between arriving and vanishing, one wrong guess, one bad decision, one moment of confusion. Confusion is natural now, expected, welcomed. You're confused about whether you're awake, whether you're dreaming, whether you still exist, and the confusion is perfect. Shimmering horizons and mirage phenomena, heat rising from water, light bending, creating islands that don't exist, creating harbors where there's only ocean, pilots seeing runways, seeing cities, seeing safety, all illusion, all mirage, flying towards salvation, finding only water, the cruelty of it, hope becoming doom, vision becoming trap, the horizon promising, then betraying. But your horizon is real, your destination certain. Sleep waits, sleep promises, sleep delivers, always, forever. Government investigations and declassified files. We return to this because it matters, or doesn't matter. The official word is clear. The triangle is normal. Disappearances are explainable. Mystery is manufactured, but declassified files prove governments lie, hide truths, protect secrets. So how much to believe? How much to trust? Trust is irrelevant now. Belief unnecessary. Just let go. Let the questions drift, unanswered, unimportant, into the dark. Conspiracy theories, secret military testing grounds, experiments gone wrong, weapons tests, submarines, black projects, the triangle as laboratories as proving ground, civilians as collateral damage, accidents covered up, classified, buried, maybe true, maybe false, maybe partially both, the truth hidden, inaccessible, forever classified. We'll never know, never be certain. Certainty is overrated. Sleep requires no proof, no evidence, just surrender, just release. Comparative study. The Dragon's Triangle near Japan. 2 triangles, 2 mysteries, 2 legends, connected, parallel, or coincidence. Perhaps the world has many such places, many zones where mystery congregates. Or perhaps humans create mystery, impose it, need it, and so we find it wherever we look, because we're looking. You've stopped looking, eyes closed, mind quiet, no more searching, no more seeking, just being, just sleeping. Oceanic noise patterns and unknown rhythms. The ocean sings, hums, groans, creates sounds we cannot explain, cannot identify. The deep making music, or making warnings, or making nothing. Just sound without meaning, without message. Listen now to the rhythm of your breath, to the song of your heartbeat. Thump, thump. The only rhythm that matters, the only music you need. The universe keeps turning, the earth keeps spinning, the ocean keeps moving, and the Bermuda Triangle keeps its secrets locked away, buried deep, hidden in water and time and the space between knowing and not knowing. Ships continue crossing, planes continue flying. Most arrive safely, their journeys unremarkable, unmysterious. But some slip through cracks, some vanish, become legend, become whispers, become part of the eternal catalogue of mysteries. And we'll keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries. 100 Bermuda Triangle Mysteries, looping softly, endlessly, through the night. The mysteries have no end. The ocean has no bottom. The questions spiral forever, down, 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 into darkness, into depth, into the quiet place where all mysteries rest, all questions dissolve, all answers fade, your breath barely moving now, so slow, so soft, each exhale longer, each inhale shallower, the tide receding, pulling consciousness away, away from shore, away from waking, out to sea, out to sleep. Thump, thump, your heart ancient, timeless, beating the same rhythm as 1,000 years ago, as 1,000,000 years, as forever. The rhythm of existence itself, the pulse of the universe, and you are part of it. You are it. No separation, no distinction. Feel the darkness holding you, embracing you. The darkness is not empty. It's full of rest, full of peace, full of sleep. The darkness is home, and you're returning, finally, completely. The Bermuda Triangle dissolving now, the mysteries fading, the questions evaporating like morning mist. Nothing remains but this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, and even these fading, thinning, becoming whispers, becoming echoes, becoming memories of sensations, memories of consciousness, memories of being awake. But you're not awake. Not anymore. You've crossed over, slipped through, entered the space where sleep lives, where dreams wait, where rest is eternal. The mattress beneath you is ocean, supporting you, carrying you. You float on it, drift on it, safe, held, forever held. The darkness around you is sky, infinite, endless. You rise into it, dissolve into it, become everything, become nothing. The silence in your mind is the silence of deep water, of empty space, of the void between stars, and the silence is perfect, complete, holy. You're the triangle now. You're the mystery. You're the question and the answer. You're the ship and the ocean, the plane and the sky, the disappeared and the searcher. All of it. None of it. Everything merging. Everything one. The universe keeps turning. The mystery keeps spinning. And the Bermuda Triangle keeps its secrets and will keep drifting, floating together through the sistries. 100 Bermuda Triangle mysteries, looping softly, endlessly, through the night, and will keep drifting.